Hello, and welcome back to our channel again. We know that Chevrolet released a couple of rare muscle cars that are worth a lot of money. We're going to look at 5 very rare and valuable Chevrolet muscle cars. I think you're going to enjoy the ride. Before we start the video, subscribe to us and hit the bell icon. 5. 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88 Coupe. The 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88 Coupe has won a regional NHRST Top Flight Award, a national NHRST Top Flight Award, and the NHRST Dunt of Mark of Excellence Award, which is given to Corvettes from 1953 to 1974 that scored at least 97 out of 100 on the NHRST scale. The 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88 Coupe is one of the most exciting cars made by the Chevrolet Group. It is one of only 20 L88 Corvette coupes made in 1967, and it is said to be the only one that is red on red. Example, the coupe originally came with RPO, a 85 shoulder harnesses, and a 4.56-gear Posey traction rear axle that was too deep for anything but drag racing. Like all L88s, the coupe also came with a 430 horsepower, 427 cubic inches, solid lifter aluminum head V8, and some other options that were required, such as the M22 closed ratio 4-speed transmission, K48 heater delete, G56 heavy-duty brakes, and F41 suspension. 4. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454. In 2014, the coupe, the beginning of the 1970s, was the height of the muscle car era, and the 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 was at the front of it. It had a 454 hydraulic lifter with 360 horsepower and was known as the LS5. The LS6 came next. This Take No Prisoners 454 engine had a forged aluminum piston, a forged steel crank and connecting rods, a forged 800 CFM Holley 4-barrel on an aluminum manifold's solid lifters. The Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 was top of the line, above the rest. No car engine has ever come from the factory with a higher horsepower rating than that. Talk about raising the bar. The total price of an LS6, with all of the required options, was over $1,000. These included the Rock Crusher 4-speed, or the unique Turbo 400 automatic Posey traction, which cost an extra $42, and axle ratios that ranged from 3.31 to 1 to 4.10 to 1. The SS Chevelle had a stylish new dash and drove much better than its size and weight would suggest. The Chevelle, driven by Ray Allen and Troopy Kling, that won the NHRA Superstock Championship, is the most famous of these X-Race cars. At Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale in 2006, that car sold for an amazing $1.24 million. 3. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. The Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 from 1969. Few muscle cars can say they are better than a L88 Corvette, but this one can. The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 may be the most complete Chevy ever made. It has more power and is faster than most production muscle cars. HotCars.com called it the quintessential muscle car because it has a lot of power and looks cool. Chevrolet brought back the ZL1 badge in 2012 and will do so again in 2017 and every year until 2022. This shows how important this special model is to the brand and its customers. It came with an L72 big block engine that made 460 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPMs and 425 horsepower at 5,600 RPMs. It had a 427-inch cubic inch aluminum big block engine with the code name ZL1 and was made for drag racing. The 1969 Chevy Camaro ZL1 engine was unique, not only because it was made of 356 aluminum, but also because it could easily make 500 horsepower. It also had a larger cam for drag racing, which was helpful for fine-tuning. This made it possible for Chevrolet to pair a beautiful muscle car with top-notch specs to boost sales in 2020, and the 1969 Camaro ZL1 sold at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale for more than $1 million. $945,000. 2. 1963 Chevrolet Impala ZL1. One of Chevrolet's cars that have been around the longest and are best known is the Impala. Even though the first Impala came out in 1958, it was still being made in 2020. As expected, it went through many changes and improvements over the years that kept customers happy and wanting more. However, one model, in particular, stands out: the 1963 Chevrolet Impala ZL1. This model is sometimes called the meanest and rarest Impala ever made. It could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 4.3 seconds, and it could run a quarter mile in 10.8 seconds. These are pretty crazy speeds for a 1960s car that became more of a family car in its later years. This Impala model was the first stock car to go faster than 120 miles per hour over a quarter-mile run, which was an exciting feat. It makes 430 horsepower and 575 foot-pounds of torque, which is a lot. According to AutoEvolution.com, even though the new Impala has more power than the old one, it is also lighter. A compression ratio of 12.5 to 1 was used to do this. The company also used lightweight materials for the car's fenders, bumpers, and bonnet to lower the vehicle's total weight. The 1963 Impala ZL1 was 300 pounds lighter than the standard Impala. In 2017, the 1963 Chevrolet Impala ZL1, also known as Old Reliable, was sold for about $525,000. 1. 1969 Chevrolet Yenko Nova SS 396. The Nova SS was the first factory-built Chevrolet car to have a big block V8 with a mechanical lifter and an automatic transmission. These cars quickly became known as Mystery Novas because few people knew about them, and even their rivals protested when they saw one. People recently learned that they could change the torque converters to stall speed. Gid thought that the 375 horsepower 396 Nova SS might triumph in the stock and superstock automatic transmission divisions. In 1969, sales of the 280 SS package went up by almost 4 times to 17,564. The package came with a better interior, the most important engine SS symbols, a grille that was blacked out and looked like hood vents, louvers and other parts of the fenders, disc brakes up front. The SS was made better by adding a 3-speed transmission and a heavy-duty suspension. In addition to the standard 350 cubic inch, 300 horsepower V8, big block customers preferred the 375 horsepower mill over the 350 horsepower mill by a margin of 5,522 to 1947, which shows that the Nova was 500 pounds lighter than the Chevelle 396. The quarter mile took 15.15 seconds for the Nova SS and 15.4 seconds for a Chevelle with the same equipment. All other Novas were embarrassed by the 1969 Yenko 427 Nova SS, which ran the quarter mile in the high 13s to mid-14s. Don Yenko talked Chevy into putting a 427 between the frame rails. Don Yenko has been quoted as saying that he shouldn't have made the Yenko Nova because he thought it had too much power for people to handle. Thank God he made that mistake and made one of the most beautiful and powerful muscle cars ever made. If you want to buy a 1969 Yenko Nova SS, you'll need about $500,000 to do so. Sometimes old is gold, and if you're looking for vintage cars and collections, Chevrolet has a lot to offer. Which of these would you like to add to your collection? Let us know in the comments section below.